The Storm Sorcerer may just be the most mobile spellcaster in D&D. I talked to Mike Merles about this subclass.
So the Storm Sorcerer began with this idea of what if we looked at doing elemental sorcerers, but didn't just do fire, water, air, and earth? What if instead of just saying an air sorcerer, because that's essentially what the Storm Sorcerer is, we took a step back and said, what if we were a little more specific and a little more flavorful in how we wanted to present the sorcerer? And this was another one that was originally in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. To be honest, I'm not exactly, can't quite remember how it ended up in that book. I think we just really liked the concept, and there were some elements in the Forgotten Realms where it would make sense, especially like for seafaring, like sea wizards, like wizards who or a spellcaster, sorcerer in this case, accompany a ship on a journey. And the idea behind the class is that their magic is infused with the power of the storm. So rather than just say air, and whatever that means, it could be wind or whatever, give it a little more flavor and think of the storm and what that means, thunder and lightning, bursts of air, things like that, and that kind of fury. And wrapping those all up in the archetype, for the sorcerer's origin, and then think how would that be reflected in someone's spells. And it's a lot more fun because rather than thinking of just pure spells like Wall of Wind or Gust of Wind, things like that, it lets you think of things like Thunder Wave and Lightning Bolt as also very iconic spells that would be part of this character's repertoire and should be iconic for them.
Like mechanically, how is that expressed?
So one of the big benefits you get is you can, as a bonus action, fly a very short distance. And the idea is you're controlling the wind around you, and you're using it to carry you aloft a short distance. And as you get higher level, you get an improved ability to basically fly. And so that's the idea that you're the master of the storm. You can do things like you can control the weather in a radius around you. So that kind of captured the idea that if you were accompanied a sailing ship, even if the winds are against you, that the Storm Sorcerer could control them and keep a ship on course or keep it safe from a storm. And then in terms of combat abilities, Storm Sorcerers get a number of abilities that augment their use of thunder and lightning spells. So like Thunder Wave and Lightning Bolt. One of the early abilities is essentially if you use a thunder or lightning spell, you can zap an opponent who's nearby for some additional damage. And the idea that as you're casting that spell, you're tapping into the soul of the storm, and it's unleashing additional energy beyond what the spell itself would unleash.
Does it seem like the sorcerers are taking more of a focus on planar magic with like the Shadow Sorcerer, and also the Divine Soul Sorcerer is still like a celestial sorcerer in many ways?
Yeah, I would think of it more as like this kind of idea, like like a force of nature, not the druid, but I think you think of it as a planar force is a good way to think of it, because these are energies that could change the very fundamental nature of someone's existence. That it's not that just you've studied the storm, you are the storm. You channel it through your soul and into your magic. And then thinking of that as the model for expanding the class and thinking of how the class, its use of magic is different from, say, a wizard or a warlock. Wizards being more scholars who, here's how, let's figure out how magic works. And warlocks being more, okay, I'll cut a deal with someone so they give me some of their power in return for whatever service I'm going to render.
Who do you think this appeals to the most, like in terms of gameplay? Because this one is like a very mobile.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about it with that flying ability. I think if you like the idea of playing a spellcaster who can really lay down some explosive spells, but can then escape harm, like the more elegant, like speedy, like skirmishing type caster. It's definitely not a wizard. You're not this doddering old guy. You're not in like a weakling. You are very much like, I kind of almost picture like a pirate or a sailor. If that's the kind of like character, like the traveler across the sea kind of thing, like a ship's mate or something like that.
You can find the Storm Sorcerer in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, as well as the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Both of those books are on dndbeyond.com. I'm Ty Kenrick. Thank you for watching.